Hello everybody, it is Tom, and I am back. Hello, hi, what's up? Hey. Hey, how's it going? For those of you who don't know, I recently started a new job, yay! And yeah, I'm really enjoying the new job, but it's taking a lot of my time and a lot of my energy, and by the end of the day I just kind of flop onto the nearest couch or bed and just, zone out for the rest of the night. So as a result, I haven't had too much bandwidth to devote to creating videos, but I'm hoping to get back into that very soon, starting with this video. So today we are going to be looking at the next part of the Heartstopper comics. So last time we looked at Tara's birthday party in Paris and all the wonderful shenanigans that happened there, and we had them heading back from Paris back to England on the bus after Nick had come out, and now everyone knows that he and Charlie are in a relationship and Nick is bi, and we love that for him. That's where we left off. So we have, I think, one more section, one more page left in part 4, and then we're moving on to part 5. But before we get started, I just wanted to let you know that the first of the 3 queer YA books that I have coming out this year came out. Wow. So yesterday was the release day for Guardians, which is a queer rivals to lovers kind of sci-fi fantasy adventure about queer teens saving the world. So if that appeals to you in any way, please go check it out, and if you would leave a rating and or review on the Amazon page or Goodreads, that would be awesome and help me out a great deal. So yes, thank you. Publisher says print version will be available in a week or two, and once it is, I'm planning to do a giveaway for signed copies, which you can win by leaving ratings and reviews. Anyway, we'll talk about that when we get to it, but for now, let's look at Heartstopper Comics. Okay, so here we are on 442, the last part of part 4. Alright, so we have Nick and Charlie getting off the bus, and there's Charlie's family. Well, we have Charlie's dad waving, Charlie's mom and Nick's mom talking, and Nellie, of course, immediately notices that they have arrived. And so we have Charlie reunited with his mom and dad, and Nick reunited with Sarah and Nellie, and a big squishy hug of Nick saying, "Text me later," and Sarah looking on, smiling, and Charlie says, "I will." And we have Charlie listening to music as he's going home in the car, and he's making, I remember this part. Okay, so Charlie is searching for how to tell someone I love you. And then we have Nick in the car with his mom scrolling through his phone, looking at pictures of him and Charlie, but then looking at a picture of Charlie with Sahara and Darcy. And Sahara and Darcy have both cleaned their plates, eaten everything that they had, but Charlie has only taken like a bite of his burger. And so Nick looks at this for a second and thinks about it, and then he types in eating disorders and searches. And off they go. So this is obviously a very big moment for both Nick and Charlie. Charlie is trying to figure out how to tell Nick that he loves him, and Nick is trying to figure out how to talk to Charlie about the fact that he thinks Charlie might have an eating disorder. So, and it's not easy to talk to someone about something like that. So I think Nick is very brave to be looking into this and wanting to help Charlie by educating himself. So. Okay, so let's move on to part 5, which is called Love. So in the opener to part 5, we have their sneakers sitting next to each other. And yeah, I've watched some reactors, because since Season 2 is coming out soon, there are a lot of Heartstopper Season 1 reaction videos popping up on YouTube. So I've been enjoying watching them and seeing kind of the next generation of reactors, so to speak. And a lot of them are commenting like, what's with all the shoes? Why do they keep having shoe shots in this show? So, ta-da! This is why. Okay, so we have Charlie's bedroom door open a crack, and Charlie saying, "Nick, I love you." I mean, I'm in love with you. I just wanted you to know. And Charlie, like, messing with his finger, Charlie fiddling, and you don't have to say it back yet. Or ever, I guess? Shuffling his feet. I mean, I hope you do say it one day because I'm properly in love with you, and I hope you'll feel the same way eventually, but please don't feel pressured to... And he breaks off and looks at himself in the mirror, and then thunks his forehead against the mirror, and says, God. And there's Charlie's room, looking great. Oh, and there's a poster for I Was Born for This by Alice, which I don't know if that was there before, but I don't think so. But I could be wrong. So we have Tori and Ollie peering in through the door as Charlie is there with his head plopped against the mirror. And Tori says, what are you doing? And Charlie is startled and embarrassed and turns around. Stop spying on me! And Tori says, stop declaring your love so loudly then. And Oliver says, haha! And leaps into Charlie's arms. I miss Oliver. Who misses Oliver? Yeah, I do wish we could have Oliver in the show. Because, like, Ollie is such just an interesting contrast to the other Spring siblings. And it's great to see, like, obviously we see a lot of Charlie leaning on Tori in the show as kind of Tori being the wise older sister. But yeah, I really enjoy seeing the dynamic between Charlie and Ollie, so I'm sad that we don't get to see that in the show. But I understand. So Ollie leaps into Charlie's arms, and Charlie says, ugh, Oliver, you're getting so heavy. And Ollie says, why were you talking to yourself? Charlie says, I wasn't. You were. We heard you. You were like, oh, Nick, I love you so much. While he's going with his face. And Charlie looks unimpressed and says, that's it, tickle time, and starts tickling Ollie. And Ollie says, no, ha 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 ha. That's what you get for teasing your big brother, ha 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 ha. So Tori, observing this with a small smile, says, you want to tell Nick you love him? And Charlie breaks off with Ollie kind of like limbs akimbo beneath him. And Charlie says, yeah, as Tori sits down next to him. And Tori says, so tell him then. Charlie says, it's not that easy. It's probably too early. And if he doesn't feel the same, it'll just make things weird. I don't want him to do the awkward I love you too thing just because he feels obligated to say it back. And Tori says, you don't think he feels the same? And then we have some flashbacks to Nick and Charlie kissing, and Nick and Charlie laying next to each other in the grass. And Tori says, you've been hanging out all summer. He's literally obsessed with you. And, I mean, yeah, true. And Charlie covers his face and says, ah! And Tori says, when are you next seeing him? And Charlie, peering through his fingers, says, today, we're all going to the beach, and then Nick's going on holiday for 3 weeks. I won't see him till we go back to school. I love this, just all three Spring siblings lying together on Charlie's bed. They really are just such a great trio. And Charlie says, so it's my last chance to tell him this summer. And Tori sits up. Tell him today. Charlie covers his face again. No! And Tori says, yes. And Ollie says, Charlie? Yes? Ollie looking very happy with his missing tooth. If you say I love you to Nick, does that mean you'll stay together forever? And Charlie says, haha, well, I hope so. And Ollie's so happy, says, yay! And glomps onto Charlie. If Nick joins our family, then I'll have 2 big brothers, and that's more than anyone in my class. See, Ollie is the best. Ollie is just wonderful. Like, Mom from a distance says, Charlie, Nick's here to pick you up. And Charlie's like, okay, just coming, as he puts down Ollie. And he grabs his backpack and puts on his hat and asks Tori, what are you up to today? And Tori says, I don't know, might go into town. I need a new school bag. And Charlie says, you could come to the beach with us. And Tori says, nah, I don't like the sun. Mood, Tori, mood. Here we have Jane asking Nick, and how's your mom? And Nick says, yeah, she's good. Stressing about our holiday, haha. And Jane turns around, and Nick is there, looking all smiley in his tank top, and sparkles as he says, hey, to Charlie with a heart. And here comes one of my favorite parts. So Charlie says hey, also with a heart, and we have Ollie in the background with a question mark. And Charlie puts his hands on Nick's shoulders, and Nick is like, what? And Charlie, blushing, is like, just never seen you in a tank top. And Nick says, never seen you in a cap, as he pulls the cap down over Charlie's face. And Charlie's like, ah. And here comes Ollie saying, Nick, guess what? Charlie. And Charlie, knowing exactly what Ollie is going to say, clamps a hand over his mouth and drags him away, saying, nope, 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 nope. So Nick and Charlie arriving at the car, saying, here we are. Finally, yay! Climbing in, we have Tao and Aled, Nick and Charlie, and Elle in the front seat with her mom. And Elle's mom says, okay, anyone else to pick up? I mean, there's not really room, is there? And Elle says, no, we're meeting Tara, Darcy, and Sahar there. And Elle's mom says, how are you doing, Charlie? Your family well? And Charlie says, I'm good, thanks, Miriam. Yeah, they're all good. And Elle's like, Mom, can we please go? And Elle's mom says, okay. I like Elle's mom. She seems very, very nice. And then she says, I'm driving you to the coast out of the goodness of my heart, and this is the treatment I get. And Elle says, Mom. So they're driving, and then we're here. And Tao says, thank God, I'm about to pee myself. Oh, his hair looks very short in that little chibi drawing. And Elle's mom says, Elle, don't forget to offer them round. I won't. While she's handing Elle some lovely sweets. And Elle's mom says, love you. Give me a call when you're ready to come home. And Elle says, okay, love you too. And they're walking away, Nick and Charlie together holding hands, and Elle waving to her mom. I really like Elle's cute little hat. I hope we get to see Elle in a hat like this when they go to the seaside. So Aled looking at the container of sweets and says, what are they? Oh, never mind, they're not sweets. So Aled looking at the container and says, what are they? And Elle says, I don't know what this is, Tamea, maybe? I apologize, I have not looked up how to pronounce this. And she says, Egyptian falafel. My mom's gotten super into Egyptian cooking again since she got back from visiting my grandparents out there. And Tao, wearing sunglasses, looking so cool, says, can I have one? And Elle says, you had breakfast like an hour ago. And Nick says, hey, there they are. And Darcy says, they're here. And we have Tara and Darcy and Sahar looking ready for the beach, because they're on the beach. And it's the Paris gang back together. So we have Elle and Tao and Darcy holding hands, racing through the sand, and everybody else walking along behind. And the Paris gang. It will be nice to see the Paris gang all together in the show as well. And of course we'll have the addition of Imogen in the Paris gang as well, I assume. So we'll see how that goes and how the dynamic changes there. So we're all at the beach, chattering. And Charlie's sitting there in his t-shirt and shorts. It looks like he's holding his phone with the earphones wrapped around it. And Nick in his tank top. Oh, God. So Nick stands up and pulls off his tank top. And Charlie is just mesmerized. And I know this has been mentioned by people before, but I love the fact that Alice does not draw Nick as like some perfectly chiseled god of a man with his body. Like he has a little bit of fluff around the tummy, and he just looks like a normal boy. Anyway, so Nick notices Charlie staring, and Charlie freezes, caught, and blushes a lot. And Nick's like, what? And Charlie looks away, nothing. And he's looking away, blushing and pulling down his cap while Nick is putting on sunscreen, and Charlie's peeking at him. And Charlie imagines telling Nick, I love you, right in this moment. Probably thinking about Tori telling him he should do it today. And also, because brains are mean sometimes, imagines Nick saying, well, I thank you, but I think it's a bit soon for me to say that. Sorry. And Charlie, of course, looking stricken. And then in the real world, we have Nick saying, Charlie? Hey, can you do my back? And Charlie's like, oh, yeah, sure. And so Charlie, faced with the broad expanse of Nick's bare back, blushes some more, and then applies the sunscreen while blushing even more. And Nick, no doubt aware of how much his boyfriend is blushing, has a little heart as Charlie does it. And Charlie says, okay, all done. And Nick says, thanks. Do you have some on? And Charlie says, oh, no, I don't really burn, I just tan. And Nick says, you should still put some on. And Charlie says, I really don't want to. And Nick just, not really hugs him, but kind of like falls a bit on top of him. And Charlie's like, no, Nick, oh, you're all sticky and gross. And Nick leaning his head against Charlie's, Char, I really don't want you to die of skin cancer. And Charlie's like, for God's sake, fine, just stop hugging me. And meanwhile, in the background, Darcy being Darcy, holding up a giant inflatable donut, as one does, which looks a lot like the donuts that Nick tries to win out of the Max Grab machine in the birthday episode of the show. And Darcy's like, Nick, you coming? And Nick says, yeah, one sec. And then asks Charlie, are you okay? You seem kind of stressed out. And Charlie looks down and says, oh, yeah, it's just hot. And Nick studies him with a ... and says, want to come in the sea? While he's kind of tipping Charlie's hat upward. And Charlie's like, maybe in a bit.
Sea ghost?
And Nick says, okay. And Charlie starts squeezing the sunscreen, and Nick takes it from him and rubs sunscreen on his hands and then just splats them right up against Charlie's cheeks. And Charlie says, Nick, oh my God, that is so gross. And Nick leans in and kisses him and takes off his hat, and we have some lovely sandy smooches. And Nick says, don't forget to put sun cream on your feet. And Charlie says, oh my God. And Tara says, Nick, stop kissing your boyfriend and hurry up. And Nick pushes down Charlie's cap, and Charlie's like, pfft. Nick stands up and heads off to the water with everybody else, and Charlie watches him smiling. Okay, and we'll stop there. So next we'll move into Elle and Charlie having a good conversation, and the rest of what happens on the beach day with the gang. So things moving forward in this section. So we have Charlie thinking about telling Nick that he loves him, but getting caught up in his own negative thoughts. And we have Nick trying to figure out what's going on with Charlie and how best to help him. And also the whole gang going to the beach, which was one of my favorite parts. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that in the show. Because, you know, the whole Paris gang heading to the seaside. We're going to see swimsuits. We're going to see water shenanigans. We're going to see all kinds of fun stuff. I hope we do get to see Charlie being kind of flustered by Nick in his tank top. And putting sunscreen on Nick, and just the whole, like, if we got that whole section that we just did shot for shot, I would be happy. But whatever they do with it, I'm looking forward to it. But yes. So, what are your favorite parts of this section, and what are you looking forward to seeing in the show? Yes, tell me anything, tell me things, leave me comments. I like comments, and yes, do that. Okay, well, thank you, as always, to our amazing patrons who are just the best in the world. That you heard it here first. They are the best. And a special shout out to our Nick Nelson members, Kelly Walker, Paul Z, and Kent Smither. So I will see you guys next time. Have a wonderful rest of your day, or night, or whatever time of day it may happen to be. Okay, bye.